The United States men's national team is back in the Olympics and will be playing in 2024 in Paris. We're actually qualified to the next two editions of the Olympics. And for this video, I want to go through players that are age eligible to play soccer in the Olympics for the United States. Yes, there are regulations that I'll go through in this video. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to a very exciting episode. Usually after the games, we do the 7 things we learned, and the United States did just play the Dominican Republic for the CONCACAF U20 Championship Final, but I thought it'd be more fun, since we qualified to the Olympics in this tournament, to make a video going through a possible roster for the 2024 Olympics. Obviously, it's all projection and probably won't be anything like what I'm showing right now, but at least you'll get to see the players that are age eligible. After you watch the entire video, drop a comment down below. Can U.S. men's national team soccer get a medal in the 2024 Olympics in Paris? Look at the names I'm going to give you and give me your thoughts. But before I get to the roster, I got to explain to you the limitations that you have, the roster limitations you have for the Olympics. All right, now we can play the best intro on YouTube. Okay, so before I give you the full roster, pay attention carefully to these regulations and rules that the Olympics has for men's soccer because it's not considered a FIFA tournament. There are many restrictions. So in the past, the roster used to have only 18 players, but in the last Olympics in Tokyo, probably because of COVID, it had 22 athletes. I don't know if they're going to keep this expansion or not. I'm going to assume in this video they're going to keep the 22 athletes per roster. Now, the Olympics is a U23 tournament for men's soccer. However, you can bring 3 players that are over the age. So if it's going to be U23 in 2024, that means the only players eligible to play in this Olympics are the players born in 2001 or after. Okay, 2001 or after. Plus 3 players that you can bring that are over age, any age, no restrictions. For this video, I'm obviously going to do it under the assumption that we're going to be able to bring a full-strength roster. What situations could make us not bring a full-strength roster? Injuries, players not being released by their clubs, because since it's the Olympics, it's not an official FIFA tournament. Clubs are not obligated to release their players. Another situation that can happen is if we play the Copa America in 2024 with CONMEBOL, that means that probably you won't get most of our main players released to the Olympics, and you're going to see some names very soon. So those are certain things to keep in mind when you're thinking of the 2024 Olympics. The Copa America in 2024 would be a priority for the main guys since we have the 2026 World Cup coming up and we're not in World Cup qualifying. So the Copa America would be part of the World Cup preparation. Now, on a positive note, most national teams don't bring a full-strength roster to the Olympics. Aside from Mexico and Brazil, most don't. Brazil and Mexico usually try to bring their best, and that's why they've been so successful. Lately, Argentina has in the past as well, but most of the teams don't, which increases the odds of the United States getting a medal if we can bring the full roster that I'm about to name very soon. And don't forget to drop a comment if you think we can win at least a bronze medal. So before we start, the full roster would likely have, since it's 22 players, will likely have 2 goalkeepers, 4 fullbacks, 4 center backs, 6 midfielders, 4 wingers, and 2 center forwards. Okay, keep in mind that's just an assumption. It can easily be different from that. We've seen many different roster compositions in the past, but that's all I have to say. And again, it is a youth tournament, so it doesn't matter too much about winning a medal in terms of accomplishment at a senior level at a World Cup, which is what really matters, right? In Copa America and many other tournaments. But in the United States, we need soccer to gain more attention and popularity. If the men's national team can get a medal, because the women's pretty much every time get a medal, or most of the time get a medal. If the men's national team can get a medal, it'll start bringing attention. Americans like winning teams, and they love to mock the men's national team, so getting a medal would help with that. But keep in mind, it is a youth tournament, so let's not overhype it like other national teams usually do. Now, let's start with the players, the roster. Let's talk about the actual players, which is what you're here for in the video. And we'll start with the goalkeepers. Okay, goalkeepers. As I said, 2001 or after. Two goalkeepers that come to mind right away are Gaga Slonina, which he already has professional experience for the Chicago Fire, and by then he'll have 2 more seasons since the Olympics is 2 years from now. And a couple other names that come to mind are Chiturio Dunze from the Leicester U23s, Alex Borto from Fulham U18s, Chris Brady, that was our goalkeeper for the U20s that qualified to the Olympics and also is part of the Chicago Fire, Antonio Carrera, that plays for the FC Dallas senior team now, I believe, as a backup. So there's plenty of options, and goalkeepers take longer to develop. Okay, so if I had a guess, I would say right now that probably the 2 goalkeepers to go would be Gaga Slonina and Chiturio Odunze, but that can change very easily. Okay, Gaga Slonina as of now probably is the front runner, and with him with enough professional experience and much more reliable than he is currently, usually teams bring a goalkeeper as the overage player. But with Gaga Slonina continues to develop, 2 years older from now, I think we won't need to use one of our overage players as a goalkeeper. Now, if any of these goalkeepers don't develop to a senior level and are not reliable, then we probably should consider bringing Matt Turner, Zach Steffen, or Horvath, because you do need to have a stable goalkeeper. But in this situation, I think Gaga Slonina might be enough. So again, if I had to guess right now, Gaga Slonina and Chiturio Odunze, but this one I'll 100% be wrong. So now that we're going to reach the field players, we'll start the fullbacks. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to give you the names that I think would make the roster if it was today, pretty much. And then I'm going to start listing a bunch of names that are age eligible that can most certainly make it the roster since it's only 2 years from now, depending on how they develop. So now let's go to the fullbacks, which are 4 fullbacks total. So the 4 fullbacks that I think will make the roster, or I would project, would be Brian Reynolds from Roma, that is on a loan, that came out of the FC Dallas Academy, Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach in Bundesliga, George Bello from Arminia Bielefeld in Bundesliga 2, and then, this is a big if, but I think Jonathan Gomez, the Mexican-American that plays for Real Sociedad B in La Liga 2, or maybe Real Sociedad very soon. Jonathan Gomez is a tricky one because there were rumors that he was going to accept a call-up for Mexico for the U20s right now, but Mexico didn't qualify to the U20 World Cup and they didn't qualify to the Olympics, so this might be the perfect opportunity to bring in Jonathan Gomez to the 2023 U20 World Cup and Olympics as a recruitment method, and because at this level he is probably our best left back. So I would invite him. I don't know why he would say no unless he has committed to Mexico by then, but it might even help us get a dual national. But now let me go through a few names that are also age eligible, and depending on how things turn out in development, they can easily make the roster. Gray from New York City FC is a great option for the fullback that if he develops can be a great option right there. Mauricio Cuevas that played in the U20 team that qualified us to the Olympics is another great option that can fight for a position in this team. Caleb Wiley from Atlanta United is a great player for the left back position. John Tolkien as a left back for the New York Red Bulls is also age eligible. In fullbacks, as you can see, we actually have plenty of good options in depth that will also improve over the next year or two. So I don't think for this one we need to bring any overage players. Yeah, no overage for the fullbacks, in my opinion. Okay, now the center backs. And as I say the names, also let me know in the comment section down below which players you think will make it to 2024, because at the end of the day, all we're doing is guessing here, right? At this age, a lot can change. Players fluctuate a lot in their development. But now the center backs, the 4 center backs I would bring if it was right now are Justin Che from Hoffenheim, still on a loan, but they should use the option to buy very soon from FC Dallas. Brendan Craig from the Philadelphia Union, that was probably our best center back throughout the U20 championship, very good on set pieces as well. Nico Carrera from Holstein Kiel in Bundesliga 2, gaining good momentum there, probably going to become a starter soon. And Marcus Verkranus from LA Galaxy, I thought he was good throughout the campaign of the U20 championship, but between him and Jalen Neal, honestly, either one's fine. It depends on how they're going to develop till 2024. They're about the same level. Jalen Neal did look, I don't know. They both had good moments and bad moments on the ball. Defensively, it was very similar. Both great prospects from the LA Galaxy. Now, another player that just is going to France, from USL to France, a young player, is Kobe Henry, the center back too. He's a player that can emerge the next 2 years and is age eligible as a center back. Now look, the center back position is a position that takes a while for the players to develop. Sometimes by age 23, 24 is when the players actually are mature and ready to go. Okay, it takes a while. So out of these players I listed, they're all very raw for a senior level, playing against grown men. So I would bring an overage player for the center backs with the players that I listed. So I'd probably remove one of the 4 that I said and put maybe Chris Richards, depending on how he develops the next 2 years. He's older, he'll be 24, 25 by then. Or even John Brooks, that'll be 31 by then. Yes, I would probably bring John Brooks to this one, as long as he's fine. So the center backs, I would bring an over the age player, probably Chris Richards on John Brooks, along with 3 of those 4 main names that I listed. Yeah, so essentially what I'm saying about the center backs right there, it's going to depend a lot on the development of these players, the availability of these players, and form at the time. Now let's go to the midfielders, where we have lots of depth. Probably out of everything I've seen so far, probably for this Olympics, what we have the most depth is in the midfield, of course, counting on everyone being available. So listen, look at this. We have Giovanni Reina available. He's a player I would bring. So these are the 6 players I would bring essentially, okay? Giovanni Reina from Borussia Dortmund, Yunus Musa from Valencia, Gianluca Busio from Venezia for now. At the time of this recording, he's still a Venezia player. And then you have options from the U20s like Paxton Aronson, Caden Clark, Alvarado. So the 4th option, I'll put any of these players that were very good in the U20s. I know they played more as forwards, Paxton and Caden, but they can play in the midfield. And Alvarado was absolutely fantastic, the midfielder from Vizela in Liga NOS in Portugal. Other players that are available that I would bring right now would be Johnny Cardoso from Internacional, the Brazilian dual national, and Tanner Testament from Venezia. These were the players I listed, but there's many other options available that are super talented and can emerge the next 2 years or explode in development. So let me list these names too, just so you can keep in mind most of the players that are available. So aside from the ones I listed, we still have Cole Bassett that's playing the Eredivisie in Holland, Diego Luna from RSL and MLS, Taylor Booth that just moved to Utrecht in the Eredivisie as well in Holland, Jack McGlynn, Moises Naiman from DC United. Also, Bet Vargas will be 18 by then. I could name also many other players from the U20 roster that just qualified. So as you can see, it's really going to depend, as I've been repeating way too many times in this video, development. But the midfield, we have way too much options. Actually, not way too much. The more the best. So for the 8th position in the midfield, or even the 10, we have a lot of talent. Way too much talent, right? Yunus Musa, Giovanni Reina, Gianluca Busio can play there. Many others, as I mentioned, Clark, Alvarado, Paxton Aronson, Diego Luna. I'm not going to name them again. But the 6, I do have a lot of concerns. So options for the 6, Johnny Cardoso can play there, even though for Internacional he's playing more as a double pivot. Tanner Testament can play there, even though he's been in and out of the Venezia lineup. Danny Edelman was good at times with the U20s as an option, but wouldn't be ready for the senior level, in my opinion. Rokas Pukstas. All these guys are not ready right now if we want to win a medal, in my opinion. Obviously, 2 years from now, much can change. So for the 6th position, depending on how things go, I would consider bringing an over-the-age player, and that would probably be Tyler Adams. Now, listen to this. Imagine if we go to the Olympics with a midfield of Tyler at the 6, and then Musa and Giovanni Reina. You tell me. I think that can win a medal. Obviously, it depends on the players around them, but Tyler, Gio, and Musa, it's a pretty damn good midfield. Almost our starting midfield for the senior level. Okay, now let's move forward in the video. And don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already, so more people can find it and we can get more US soccer fans involved in the community. Now the wingers, and as I said, we'll probably have 4 wingers. So let me tell you the 4 wingers I would bring right now, and then some other players eligible. But I don't think we have that much depth on the winger position at this level. So Conrad de la Fuente is one that I would bring for sure. He is age eligible. Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg that can also play as a left back if we need, but I would bring him to be one of the wingers. He has a lot of talent to play up top. Malik Tillman from Bayern Munich that will likely leave Bayern very soon is also age eligible. Now the 4th option, I would personally bring a player over the age, and that would be Christian Pulisic. I think Pulisic, if he's available and he wants to go, he has to go to the Olympics as long as he's healthy and wants to go. And he would absolutely be one of the over-the-age players I would bring, especially for the wing position, which, as I said, the depth is not the same. Even though the players I mentioned, the quality is way up high for that level, I would bring him. And if I still had an extra over-the-age player available, I would bring Pulisic and Weah. I would bring 2 over-the-age players for the wings. Okay, but I don't think Weah would be much necessary. Maybe by then I'll have put already a center back, Tyler Adams, and Christian Pulisic as my 3 main guys for the over the age. So just to recap the wingers that I would bring: Conrad de la Fuente, Kevin Paredes, Malik Tillman, and Christian Pulisic. Maybe Tim Weah, and then I would have to remove one of those, maybe Paredes or Tillman. Now, I do want to point out that many of the midfielders that I listed can also play on the wing, such as Caden Clark, Paxton Aronson, Giovanni Reina, and many others. Okay, so there are options for the wing as well, just so you don't think we lack that much depth on this position. Last but not least, the center forwards. And I'll be very quick with this one because I did not see much depth or much options. And depending on how things go, we might need to bring less of a winger or less of a midfielder and bring a player over the age for the center forwards, because the only two I really saw as reliable options right now were Ricardo Pepi, he's age eligible for the Olympics, and Matthew Hoppe, he's also age eligible for the Olympics. He can play as a center forward or as a winger. Now, listen, there are players that could develop the next 2 years and become important for the squad, and that could be Cade Cowell. He can play as a center forward, in my opinion. Malik Tillman, maybe Paxton Aronson at the 9, even though I'm not a big fan of playing him there. And even Malik Tillman can play as a 9 as well. So there are options, but Pepi and Hoppe seem like the best options for the center forward position right now. Obviously, it'll depend if they get released at the time and how other players play out throughout the next few years. All right, everyone, that was a little bit of a dive of many of the names that are eligible to play for the United States in the Olympics in 2024. We're going to keep track of all of them here at the channel, as we always do. We have the Americans abroad, and we'll keep track of the U20s, U23s. Exciting times as a U.S. soccer fan. Don't forget to drop a like button before you go. Thank you, BetOnline, for sponsoring this video. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a comment down below. Do you think the United States men's national team could get a medal in 2024? And which medal? Bronze, silver, gold, or none? Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and have a great day.